New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
From the New Thought Media Network, this is the Conscious Reality Show with your host, Sara Nichols, where conversation plus intention reveals a new reality. Every week, Sara and her guests will discuss what they know and what they don't. Experimenting in front of everyone with what else is possible. I'm Sunny Childs, and here is your host, Sara Nichols.
Good morning, everybody. I am so glad to be here. Oh, and we have an excellent guests that are coming on soon. And when they do, I'm glad they're here because before the Congress right now is a multi-billion-dollar tax cut for billionaires that will, among other many horrible things in this bill, the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office has estimated will remove 11 million people from healthcare coverage. So that is how this billionaire tax cut will be paid for. It also has all sorts of other law in there that has nothing to do with saving money for the taxpayers and nothing to do with even the billionaire tax cut. They have put every single wish list of changing laws. They're making it harder to enforce environmental laws for the next several years. They're making it so that you can't actually legislate for privacy rights in the next several years. You can't make it so our data can't be used. There's a great deal in this bill. So call your member of the U.S. Senate, because it's before the Senate, it already passed the House, and tell them to vote against this bill and protect the American people. And now I'll turn to, very timely with all that before the U.S. Senate, is any attempt to protest what is going on and call attention to the American public of what is happening. Coming up on June 14th, Saturday, June 14th, is the No Kings rallies across the country in all areas. That's a protest on that day, partly because the president will be spending millions of dollars to roll the military and tanks down the national capital and celebrate his birthday by looking like a dictator or a king instead of a president. And so it's No Kings rallies. And one of them, there's people all over the country organizing to go to this, and you can go. We'll put a link on to that soon so that you can go and see where your No Kings rally is. Every time you go to one of these rallies, and a bunch of people probably have been to it, you can see that there are signs, right? And people have signs, and they're the typical kinds of signs, mostly, that have been at rallies and protests forever. Whatever the side of politics you're on, they're pretty much typical, except for these certain signs that the butterfly effect protest art movement is creating, which are really wonderful. And so I'm going to bring them on soon. I have three members of that movement. It's a broad movement, and they are leaders of it, but they're also just people that are making amazing art, positive protest art. And if you want to know more about it, you can use the scan and go to the UR code that is on the screen there. There's an example of one of their many, many butterflies that they make, and they're going to tell us more about that. So just before I bring them on, let's just bless our country. Know that there's really only one power and presence, the unlimited power of spirit that is living out its perfect life as everything in the known and the unknown world. And this spirit is living out its life as all the people, every single person in every single office, or not in an office at all. The trees, the butterflies, the caterpillars, the mountains, the rivers. Spirit is living out its perfect life as all. And we are each spiritual beings having a spiritual experience in a human body on the human plane. And the particular beings that we're about to bring on are people who the spirit that is living out its life as them, whether they talk about it that way or not, as we'll find out, they may not, has been shown to create this positive protest art and to have fun doing it and to make a difference in this way. And so because we are the conscious reality show, and on this show, we look at the apparent reality and we ask the question, what else is possible? And how does it get better than this? This, I think, is the answer they got, or an answer that they got. So without further ado, let's bring on our other guests, Kate, Randy, and Athena. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning. I'm so thrilled to have you. So tell me, and don't all talk at once, but we'll manage it if you do. Maybe I'll just ask one of you. Kate, how did this get started?
This got started through a few friends just coming together and thinking, wow, we really want to show up to these protests, and they're starting to already feel a little bit stale. Like in February, there was a friend I ran into and we reconnected at the protest, I think at the end of January. And she was going to additional protests, and it was like she in particular was already starting to feel the disillusionment and discouragement creeping into the protests versus an energy of we need to keep showing up and make a difference. And so she was really inspired by having lived in Seattle in the past and the giant puppet brigades. And she just started kind of dropping the idea, like, what if we made some massive protest art? Like, what if we made a huge protest puppet? And I was thinking, wow, this sounds like it's going to be a lot of time, a lot of effort. Can I really put something like that in my life right now? And then went to my dance community, which Randy and Athena are part of, and just put it out to them. Like, hey, is anyone interested in making some protest art? And there was a friend who was like, I'm in. And so the three of us kind of just started brainstorming, like, okay, if we're going to make a giant puppet or some huge protest art, what would it be? Like, what's the theme? And eventually what emerged was butterflies and the idea of the butterfly effect.
Nice. Well, Randy, Athena, anything to add to that?
I would say that, yes, that's prior to the butterflies. Prior to the butterflies, there was a protest that we attended, and Kate was full of energy. and enthusiasm. And we were all talking about like, we want to build community. We want to create joy in these places instead of it just filled with rage and fear. Let's bring some joy and some lightness to it.
Yeah.
And so we made, prior to even making butterflies, there were signs that said joy is resistance, and I forget the other one, but things along those lines. And
Right.
Kate borrowed a speaker and a trailer to hook up to her bike from a friend,
Yeah.
and brought that to the protest. And we danced during this march. And it was so much fun and really spread joy amongst the march and amongst ourselves. So that, I feel like that was, for me, what got the ball really rolling. And then from there, then the idea of the butterflies came in, and we were like, yes, we had so much fun last time. Let's go. Let's have butterflies. Let's dance. Let's bring joy and beauty to this place. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And let me just add, I want to share, I struggled with lightness and not joy as the depth of joy, but some kind of like, is this tone deaf? Are we not being, I mean, we are in grief, we are in rage, we are in tremendous passion, but we also need to show vitality and community and attract energy that is vibrant and life. We didn't want to be, it was like, we are not dying here.
Right.
People are dying.
People are dying.
People are dying. It can't just be la la la. But I initially came not quite like, I'm showing up, because that's one thing I believe in. Show up, Sarah. We show up, and then we build community, and it unfolds. And when we were dancing to protest music that goes back 60s, goes back, in so many other protests, it felt like, okay, we're connecting to a movement of protest that has been going on for decades, for generations, and we are bringing that beat, that heartbeat, and that rhythm to the movement.
Yeah, that's good. Well, in the Centers for Spiritual Living that I am a minister in, it is sometimes said, and our founder Ernest Holmes has said in the teachings, we are for something and against nothing. And sometimes people use that to say that we shouldn't protest, right? And that we shouldn't be clear about what we're against. And that's not how most of my colleagues that I'm associating with interpret that, right? There's a way to be clear about what we're for and clear about what we're against without being getting into the same violence as is being perpetrated on us, right? Mm-hmm. That's one of the reasons I picked this particular butterfly for your for the slide that is up there. When oppression becomes law, resistance becomes duty, because there's nothing namby-pamby about that, right? It's not at all la 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 la. It is serious stuff, but it's affirmative. It's making an affirmative statement. So positive to me means affirmative. When that's affirmative, when oppression becomes law, resistance becomes duty. So it's affirmatively our duty to resist oppression. So just to unpack my thoughts on that. And that's actually also why I didn't put be the change you want to see in the world. I'm fine with that phrase, but I consider it true, right, in terms of how. And by the way, I'm not on the screen because I can't find a way to have four of us without it being on there. I actually could make myself on the screen by putting this on. There's my face, but I just like having your butterfly up there, because that's the star of the show today. Mm-hmm. that be the change you want to see in the world is also a little bit putting it all on us, right? And it is on us. It is on us in the sense that we are voters, we are people in this country, and we have to be the ones who are saying this is not us. This is not the United States of America that we want to see. This is not, we can't have our Constitution violated. We take care of the people that live here, right? And we protect them. It is on us, but it also is on our elected officials and the courts and everyone, right? And I think your signs. What have you got behind you there, Randy? Read me what we can see it, but some people just listen. So why don't you read?
Sure. So I have power of the people, stop the coup, stand up, speak out, vote, fight. That's on one.
Great.
And the other, this one is hands off.
Yes.
And make good trouble.
Make good trouble.
And save our democracy. And on the hands off part, it's hands off and then up in the quadrant, this quadrant of the butterfly.
Yeah.
Hands off civil liberties and rights, bodies, national parks, Social Security, Medicare, healthcare, veterans' rights, schools, free speech, habeas corpus, and the rule of law. So those were just as many as I could get.
Love it.
In that one corner, because
what are we taking our hands off? Yeah.
And
we're demanding hands off.
That particular butterfly was made for the hands off protest. So the next one definitely are going to have more about.
Sure. And really any of the protests can be a hands-off protest.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Love it. Well, talk to me a little bit about, since this is the Conscious Reality Show, do you believe the existing reality as absolutely real, or do you think that there are any consciousness tools that you can use that change your mind and make it so that you can see a different, perceive or change or experience a different reality? Any of you that want to speak to that? It's a toughie.
The thing that comes, so we know each other originally from dancing, and we do a conscious dance together weekly, or some people twice a week. And
the 5 rhythms.
5 rhythms, yeah, is this practice that we do. And to me, I mean, I feel like that's the answer. Dancing, community, being with this community and moving together, it creates this this collective energy, and there isn't, and dance, it isn't always joy there. Sometimes there's tears and growling and rage. It's everything, and everything is welcome on that floor. And I believe movement is life. So working whatever it is through our bodies.
Right.
I'm a big advocate for that.
Let me just add a thought to your question about and bringing the butterfly, but actually bringing the caterpillar, the imaginal cells. So if we have reality of what actually transforms a caterpillar to a butterfly, it doesn't just go to sleep and then wake up from the chrysalis and become this butterfly. It is a battle. And it is a battle between its cells in the caterpillar, which don't have a blueprint for being a butterfly, that eventually, though, and are fought by the caterpillar, because they are imaginal cells. Well, so if that, not to go into more weeds on that, but Sarah, when you ask what's reality, what do I believe about reality?
Right.
think it is something that we envision. It emerges. We hold a vision of something we want to see manifested, and it's not just this think it and it will happen. It's
Right.
it is a fight. It is a battle too. It is a fight too. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Makes sense.
It makes me think of at the April 5th protest, I was on the west steps of the Capitol, and I had the huge, it's like an 8-foot wide butterfly wingspan with cellophane wings. So it makes like a kaleidoscope down onto the sidewalk. And this little tiny kid just came up and like looked up at me and the wings above my head and said, "Where did you get that?" And, you know, it almost was like, there's so many meanings that I've come from that. And like one of them is just that in that moment, I imagined, you know, so often when we hear, "Where did you get that?" you say Amazon. Like,
right.
Amazon. And this is this 8-foot wide butterfly puppet that I was like wearing on my body. It's suspended and it has 2 poles for wings with, you know, other folks carrying those. And we've been spending the prior weeks just coming together in community to create this massive symbol. And so then to tell this little kid, I made it with like 20 of my friends. Like, we all got together and made it. And he just was like, I like it, you know? And it was in the huge crowd. And I think he just stood away. Like, I can't even remember if I said out loud to him, like, "You could do this too. Like, get your friends together and like dream something up and make it."
Yeah.
But it was almost just like the expression on his face. Like, I could tell that was the message that he heard as he was just witnessing this thing. And so I think
that's a great message.
That is creating a new possibility, a new reality.
Yeah. Every art is that, right? Art is almost by definition a new reality. Good call. I was missing that. That makes perfect sense. I mean, it must have been one of the reasons I was attracted to what you guys were doing, but
and you know, Sarah, it wasn't even a matter of it doesn't have to come from Amazon, please. But it came out of Kate's imagination, along with some of the other dancers and artists. But how to do it? There was no blueprint. There was no instruction manual, and the making of it evolved in the process of doing.
It definitely was an evolution and an experimentation and just a visioning of imagining, and it was completely a collaboration though too, you know. So there were some of us that were really skilled at gathering up supplies and putting the word out to find random bamboo poles in the gutter and stuff like that. And then there were other folks who, I mean, one of our friends just was the incredible artist that she could just design the shape of the wings and amazing, and the painting, and then there was the coming up with the concept, the structure, like how will this
engineering
engineering of it. And then all of the hands that just folks were showing up to put the paint on the cardboard and glue stuff and spray foam into water bottles for the body of the giant butterfly.
Right.
Like on the sewing machine with the fabric for the body. Yeah, it was a collaboration for sure.
Well, let me ask you this, and Kate knows this is a question that I'm interested in. I'm actually writing a book on this topic. How do you know what you know? So in order to dial into your own inner wisdom and know, for example, that this was yours to do, right, individually, right, collectively something emerged and there was excitement, etc. But to say yes to that and to know and to keep coming back and saying yes, how do you evaluate that? How do you know what you know? Sometimes people, one of the reasons I'm writing a book on it is a lot of people don't know. So you may just be able to hem and haw about what tells you to say yes and why you said yes to this.
Well, let's make this a collaborative conversation. I'm going to just start with come out of thinking, come out of cerebral prefrontal cortex thinking, think, and bring it down either into here, into heart, lungs, gut, solar plexus.
Yes.
Yeah, bring it down into core. That's right. I'm just going to start with that. So rather than lecture or go on, but
yes.
out of cortex and down.
Right.
I would say so one thing that I truly believe and I believe that joy, love, and connection are the meaning of life.
Mm-hmm.
Without it, life is not worth living.
Yeah.
That is what gives life meaning. So to me, the question is always, is there joy? Is there love? Is there connection?
Yeah.
And if it's a yes, then that's the yes. Does it create that sense of that purpose, that connection to yourself, to other people, to the earth? Yeah, that's always the ultimate question for me.
Yeah. And is it a thought or a feeling?
It could be both, right? Sometimes you question, right?
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes we are at a crossroads and there's a decision to be made. And so then there, there are thoughts, but yeah, I mean, ideally, right. We're just in this meditative space in the body, really feeling, right. What is my yes within the body? Yeah. Like Randy
said. By the way, I'm equally interested in if you don't know what you know or any experiences you've had with that as well. Kate, what about you?
Yeah, there's waves, right, in my life of like times where I feel very tapped in and connected and able to tune into what is going to bring me joy and ease.
Right.
That's often the word Athena's talking about, joy and connection. For me, a big one is ease also. And yeah, there's practices that I do that when I'm really solid in those and incorporating them in my life daily, that it comes more easily to know what I know. And other times where, I'm busy and running around and a little more frantic and it's harder to really be clear.
Yeah. Really? Sometimes you're busy and running around frantic?
You heard a little about that, huh?
I do that.
So let's add to this conversation the part that is grinding, churning, pausing. Well, actually, pausing has to come first. So we just get us to credit one of my teachers, Resma Menachem. You pause and then hold that energy and allow it to just embrace it, be with it. Don't try and figure it out. Don't try and just intellectualize. Be still. But the stillness is actually a churning, a grinding, a process of what am I feeling? And not just feeling, but the somatic elicitation. What is my body sensing? So it's integrating body with emotion, with mind.
Wonderful. All right. Well, hold that thought. I am going to go to our sponsor now, and maybe for the heck of it, put myself back on for a minute to say hi to everybody. And then when we come back from the sponsor, what we'll do is actually run through a process called visioning to see what else is possible and how does it get even better than this with the butterfly effect and our country. All right, let's go.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network, come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace and blessings.
All right. Well, welcome back to the to the Conscious Reality Show, where my guest is the Butterfly Effect Positive Protest Art Movement, with 3 of its artists and vibrant members are here to talk about this. And we're actually now going to go into the part of the show where we use spiritual tools to improve whatever it is that the exciting people on the show are working on. So that's what we're going to do. And let me bring them back on to join us. And I will remove myself again and just be in speaking mode, which is good because I often close my eyes a lot when I'm listening, when I'm leading this particular practice. So probably some of you have done something like this, but this is a particular kind of thing called visioning that we do at the Centers for Spiritual Living. And Michael Beckwith down at Agape in Los Angeles invented it and taught us all it. And it is a way to create by seeing the unlimited part of us, what it has in mind for us. So you can close your eyes if you want. You can take notes if you have something to take notes on. Otherwise, you're going to just take notes with your brain, which is fine. Or put them in the chat, your private chat here on the screen. You can do that totally. And then, and what you're going to be doing is just catching anything, and artists and dancers are good at this, but you're just catching anything that comes to you that, and actually maybe I will mute you guys for background noise to be gone. You're catching what is, it could be thoughts, it could be images, it could be smells, sounds, tastes, words. It could just be a feeling. It doesn't have to be something that you could easily articulate. So don't worry about that. So just close your eyes, if you will. And everyone who's listening, by the way, who's within the sound of my voice, just substitute something else. If you don't want to vision on this particular thing that we're visioning on, you can substitute anything else that you want to bring into being or that you're working on, and ask yourself the same questions. And you can listen to this over and over again for different things. So just reconnecting with that part of the only thing that's really ever here, the unlimited power of the one, living out its perfect life as everything in the known and the unknown world. And we know that at the level of spirit, at the level of the quantum field, the ground of all being, the Atman Brahman presence, God, Christ consciousness, whatever you call it, there is no time. All is known. All is happening at the same time. So that which we think of as the future is actually available right here and right now in this space and in this time. And so I asked a question. We are inquiring into the highest part of ourself that is connected to all things, that is connected to the part of the unlimited mind that knows and knows that it knows, and that can see the future and doesn't even consider it future, just considers it reality, current reality. And we're asking, what is the highest good, the highest vision that is available for the butterfly effect protest art movement? And just listen. What is the highest good that is available for the protest art movement? And just listening. What does it feel like? What does it look like? What does it smell like? What color is it? Anything that you get, take note of it if you can. In the chat or notebook or just in your brain. And now let's ask, and this certainly is something that everyone listening can do. What is the highest vision? What is Spirit's vision? Universe's vision? The highest vision for the United States of America and the world, and the United States' role in the world. And listening to that, what is that highest vision? And I'll ask this a few times, so if you're still capturing thoughts from the first question, you can capture them and then you can turn your attention to this. What is Spirit's highest vision for the United States and the world, and the United States' role in the world? What does that look like, smell like, feel like, sound like? Move like? And we're just listening and catching this vision, capturing it. What the highest vision is for the United States and the world, and the US's role in the world. And now a new question. What must we, any of us listening, what must we let go of, release, in order for us to play a role in manifesting the vision for the butterfly effect protest art movement, and or the United States in the world? And you might get two different things. What must we release? What must I release? And what must we embrace? And you could, if this is going too fast for you, anybody who's listening, this is recorded, so you could slow it down and pause. What must we embrace? What must I embrace in order to embody and realize this vision for the butterfly effect protest art movement, or for the United States in the world? What must I embrace? And then the final question is just, what else? Is there anything else Spirit wants us to know? All right. And so we just give thanks for this vision and this time. And we know that whatever it was, even if we didn't get anything major or not, that the visioning itself, the meditation itself, the practice of looking at that itself is creative, and that it creates. So the mere fact of seeing it moves in that direction. All right. So I'm going to mute you all and put myself back on. But any of you who would like to speak first, I will actually. Oh, look, I got all four of us. Thought I couldn't.
Thanks.
Okay. Anybody want to share anything that they got?
I can just say thank you, Sara. Wow, that was a lot. I got a lot. So then I don't think I can share all of it. But I think what maybe is jumping out at me right now to share is the releasing was to release the belief that it has to be hard.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
I heard, and that it's all up to me.
Yeah.
There's someone shared with me yesterday a little phrase, some phrases. How good can I stand it?
Nice.
and how little can I do?
Oh, beautiful. That's a good one. Both of those. We'll put some other things on there like that. How good can I stand it? That's kind of like something that some people have asked me is, would it be okay with you if life got easier? And if the answer is no, then the mystery is solved. How good can I stand it? Well, let's see.
I really, are you done?
Christina? Yeah.
I reconnected with kind of an intention that I set for myself after the election in November. I just really saw how so many people around me were just filled with fear and anxiety, and I dedicated morning meditations to loving kindness and like spreading it, spreading it out with the world, and sharing it with those around. And that was, I kind of just got this, that's part of, like, when we talk about the butterfly effect, we have the symbolism of the butterfly itself and starting as a caterpillar and transforming, but then also that phrase butterfly effect, meaning just one small change can ripple out.
Yes.
So yeah, I was just envisioning that. I was reconnecting with that, and this idea that I love that, like, it doesn't have to be hard, right? I want to, instead of fighting fire with fire, right, I want to fight fire with water. Bring some softness and peace, and sometimes I feel like I'm just being too idealistic. Maybe I'm just too California woo-woo, and I do believe that, and it's not in me. I don't have it in me to be fighting and angry all the time. I've done that. You know, I used to be really involved in activism in college, and I got really burnt out from that. So this has been my way to participate, and also for it to feel nourishing rather than depleting.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've done that too. I've done the angry stuff.
Yeah.
It's not very sustainable.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Randy?
Embrace life, nature, to know that the earth, Mother Earth, the planet is going to survive no matter what. And we get to choose, lean in to the present moment to be part of the commitment to sustain life in whatever form that is, which, as Athena said, joy, community, and
joy, love, connection.
Joy, love, connection. Okay. So it's releasing outcome in some ways, being present and being alive, and letting that express. That's when we come to what do we know we are alive in this moment right now. So what do we do? It sounds so cliche, but it doesn't make it not true.
No.
What do we do with this moment? What do we do with this opportunity, with kindness, with love, with joy, with what, but also not being in that la place, holding grief and gratitude, holding the whole. It's aware. It's the total awareness, and knowing that not blanking out, not going into overwhelm, not dissociating, being, and then dreaming and imagining what we want to see, and living into that. leaning into that in whatever way we can. So just being together and being in connection. And even though we don't know, we have responsibility to each other, despite not having even hope necessarily. Despite no hope, we have responsibility to be and to do now what we can.
I was just down at the California Democratic Party convention, and which was not a uniformly positive experience, actually. But I will, I'm a little wondering why Spirit sent me there. But one thing that was, and I don't agree with every single thing Senator Cory Booker does, but he's quite a speaker, and he was there speaking. And he told a story of how during Hurricane Sandy, when he was the mayor of Newark in New Jersey, and his, the city was vastly affected and nearly large parts of things destroyed from the hurricane. On that day, he got a call from the president, who was Barack Obama, to talk to him and ask him about things. And then right after that, he got a call from the governor of New Jersey, who was Chris Christie, to talk about it. And then he headed out with a car full of people to survey what was going on. And it was night by then, and they were going up into the hills. And he sees this man all dressed in a yellow slicker, waving a light back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And they roll down the window of the car, and Cory Booker says to him, it's terrible out here. What are you doing? Why are you here? And the man, who is just a random person, right? Not any official or anything, said, well, I'm in this neighborhood, and all these poles and wires and everything came down, and they're all behind me, and anybody could get hurt or electrocuted by it. And I said to myself, what can I do? And this is what I can do. I can keep people away from getting hurt, right? And Cory Booker said that was the most important conversation he had that day, not with the president, not with the governor, but with this individual who saw that he could do something, and he did it, right? And that, I think, is really the essence of what you were just saying, Randy, and what all of you have been saying in terms of the butterfly effect, and what can we do that we can actually do and add beauty, add joy, but also add our voice, right? So with that, we're actually going to, I don't think I explained this to you, but I'm going to be closing the show with the closing clip. If anybody needs to leave, you can. But then we're going to come back after that. And even though we'll still be live, we're going to talk about the show and let people eavesdrop on how did we think it went. And then we will close that up. So that tends to be, for some reason, people's very favorite part. So here we go.
Thanks to our guest, to host Sara Stevens Nichols, and to the New Thought Media Network. I'm Sunny Childs, producer of the Conscious Reality Show. Join us live next Wednesday at 9 a.m. or stream the show at your convenience. Subscribe to Conscious Reality Show YouTube channel so you never miss a show. If you'd like to learn more about us, check out www.sarastevensnichols.com.
Oh, and I just forgot to say that our next guest is Eric R. Johnson. He's a decision analyst, and he thinks he knows what you know. That's what he does for a living. He's also really funny and sweet, and I call him the human Spock. I've known him for a very long time, and he is a magnificent guest. So look for him on, I don't remember, but he's our next guest. Okay. And now we're really off, and we're just going to go back to talking about all of us, how that show went. How'd you like it?
I loved it. What I really loved about it is hearing Athena and Randy talk about what this has meant to them. Because I think we've had a few of those conversations, as we're making butterflies and stuff, or just reflecting or at the protest. But it's nice to take a step back and get the time to just reflect and it's a reminder to me of what's really meaningful about doing this.
Cool. It was nice to have you on. What do you think of visioning? Have you done that before? Has that been something? Have you done that particular practice? Yeah.
I don't know if I've done I've never done those specific questions, but I've done various, different kinds of meditative. Yeah. And it's like lots of little things were coming in. Like when you said, what color? I was like, it's pink.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, that felt like a nice step back. And it just, I don't know, like Kate was talking about the being busy, the go, right? And that's one of the things I was like, we need less of that. Like, can we all just slow down and to be able to have this time together to do that and to share that? Sweet.
It can be overwhelming. And so all of the questions, all of the state that we're in, all of the awareness that we have. I mean, So when you say how did it feel today, was even thinking before this, oh my goodness, what are we doing? How are we doing? What is it? What are the messages we want to get across? What is Sara? It was like so unknown. And then, I appreciate that we just felt present with each other and kind of dancing together in a conversation. And so in that regard, if anybody saw anything that they could respond to that was like, oh, that's intriguing. Oh, I'd want to know more about that. Oh, I'd like to paint a butterfly.
Yeah.
I would hope that anybody listening would know, oh, great, you are welcome. Come be part of this, because we want to grow as I just learned the word kaleidoscope. Kate taught me that last night. I didn't know that that's the name of a herd of butterflies or a flock of butterflies.
What? Oh my gosh. I had no idea. That's wild.
Pass the mic to you, Kate. Say more.
The kaleidoscope. And of course, if you're in the Sacramento area, you could hang out with Athena and Kate and Randy, and maybe eventually. Well, not me, because I don't really do art. I have art trauma, but I appreciate art, and I'm glad you do it, and I'd be happy to carry a butterfly.
Well, we've made many, and then we've brought them all to protests and then passed them out so that people can. Different people. Yeah, I made a couple with my kids.
Yeah, cool. I'm glad. Yeah, and it's a perfect thing for kids to participate in. But also, if people are in all parts of the country, don't think that you have to do it a certain way, right? Like make whatever butterflies and write your message on them and get out there, right? And
grow the kaleidoscope.
Grow the kaleidoscope, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, let's move it down, and then I'll still be here if you want to talk to me. But if you want to leave, you can do that too. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much.